Hey, good evening. Thank you for coming to the Falls Township Board of Supervisors meeting. Apologize for our delayed start. We'll begin with the salute to the flag, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you. Mrs. Pullen, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Galloway?
Here.
Mr. Brasky?
Here.
Mr. Harvey?
Here.
Mr. Dents?
Here.
Mr. Rodko?
Here.
Okay, before we begin, we have a couple, some good presentations to make. We just have to have our solicitor give us a brief summary of our executive session, please.
Thank you, Mr. Harvey. The board held an executive session prior to this meeting to discuss matters of personnel and litigation.
Okay, thank you. All right, we've the second time we've gathered here to award certificates to some of our residents who have gone through the Citizens Police Academy. This is a program that started 2 years ago, I guess maybe last year. This was the first year we did it. Our police department has put together, and they've run on their own. And we can see Chief Wilcox is here, as well as Lieutenant Whitney, and also Officer Yeager, who are here to make a presentation. A lot of blue shirts in the audience here, people that have gone through this program. I'll allow these gentlemen to go ahead and explain the program itself, and then they can announce the names of those who went through it, and we can recognize them for the service and volunteerism and their commitment to the community. Chief?
Good evening, everyone. First of all, this evening, we have a lot of thank yous to do. My part in this is very easy. I come on in the beginning, and I'm here at the end. So my part is very minuscule, but there's a lot of people here that have did a lot of good things and a lot of work. I certainly would be remiss if I didn't remember all these people here. First of all, I want to thank the Board of Supervisors for letting us do this program. I'd like to thank Mr. Gray, the support staff, but most of all, I'd like to thank our officers. There's a lot of hard work that goes into this. Our community policing, they started this many, many months ago, putting this together, preparation, shirts, programs, putting together certain blocks of instruction that would benefit members of our community. And I think in our second academy class, we've shown that we're on the money with this thing, and it works, and it can only get better. But it can only get better because we have dedication. We have some real dedicated people in community policing. We have the head of it, Lieutenant Whitney, Corporal Wolverton, Officer Yeager, and numerous other officers in the police department here that put a lot of time and effort into this. So I would like everybody to know that this program is only succeeding because of them. And it's a very, very good program. We're going to follow it up with a Youth Police Academy in the summertime, and it's a great connection between us and the community here. A lot of good things came out of it. We're hoping to expand on this and make it the best program in the area. That's what we're trying to do. But most of all, it's for you and the community here, and that's what we want. We want something so you can interact with us, so you know what we do, and vice versa. And it's a very good connection, and it continues to be a good connection. So I don't want to be long-winded here tonight, but we just wanted to thank everybody connected with this thing. Lieutenant Whitney, did you want to say anything?
Just briefly, we did 11 weeks of training with everybody this time around, and you all did a very good job. We put you through your paces, and tonight's your night.
Our first cadet is Ted Birch. You guys should just hold your applause till the end if we could.
We'll hold applause till the end. Thank you.
We appreciate the enthusiasm.
Joy Black. Robert Crozier. James Fee. Cody Jammer. Samantha Kiernan. William Kiernan. John Kozel. Christina Marshall. Brianna McDuffie. Andrew McElhair. Suzanne Muncy. Arian Presser. Corey Rogers. Amy Ryan. Chase Spring. Randy Spring. Eileen Tarity. Edward Weinchowski. Sharon Williams. And if we would the Board of Supervisors come down so we could just get a photo op with you guys, please? Thank you.
Can we clap now? Can we clap now? Nathan's gonna have to go to Marsville to get you all in the picture. Don't fight Lefevre on whatever he's. What? Lefevre is disagreeing with you about something. Thank you, sir.
We'd like to invite everybody back for drinks and food in the other room. And we'd like to invite the board back when you finish your meeting for drinks and that.
Thank you.
Pete, there'll be extra sandwiches.
Thank you very much.
For anyone who's interested, our next academy starts February 25th.
February 25th for the next round, the Citizens Police Academies. Thank you again, the Chief Wilcox, Lieutenant Whitney, and also Officer Yeager, and all the other members of the police department who helped out.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Involuntarily around the dogs and the guns and other police department.
And we can do it?
And
More guns and bullets. I don't know. Go ahead, do what you need to do.
Okay, was giving people a chance to sort of make their way out. We're going to move ahead with our second round of presentations here. For several years now, the Township has had a holiday house decorating contest. The idea behind it is to recognize those members of our community who go above and beyond during the holiday season to decorate their homes, certainly brighten the neighborhood, brighten the mood of people, usher in the holiday spirit, and make Pico a little wealthier. But our Park and Rec department went around and they took a look at some of the houses that were nominated. Brian Andrews, our Director of Park and Recreation, is here, along with Miss Lindsay Martier, one of our, very, very, very...
Quinn Kelly.
Queen Kelly. Why did I say that? Oh, you know why? Because I have it right here. Sorry. I'm sorry, Lindsay. Is here to make a presentation. So, Mr. Andrews.
Good evening, everyone. It's my pleasure on behalf of Parks and Recreation and the Parks and Recreation Board to announce the winners of our 2014 Holiday House Decorating Contest. We chose two categories this year, a classic category and an extreme category. I'd like to announce the winners for the classic category, first and second place. First place in the classic category will be Robert Crozier, 17 Wild Rose Lane. Robert will win a $25 gift card to Scapa Brick Oven Trattoria and a certificate of achievement. Our second place winner is Milton Worrell, 257 Elderberry Drive. Yeah, we'll have him walk. Yeah, have him walk up. Thank you. You could stand right up there. I'll be right up. I don't think Mr. Worrell could make it tonight, so we'll make arrangements to get him his prize. Okay, our first place in our extreme category is the House family, Brian and Minica House. They also receive a $25 gift card to Scapa and a certificate of achievement. And our second place winner in the extreme category will be Andrew and Beth McElhair, 147 Truman Drive in Fairless Hills. They get a $15 Wawa gift card and a certificate of appreciation. I'd like to thank Quinn for going out with me and judge the houses. We look forward to next year. Yeah, we'll take that. I'll make sure he gets it. All right.
Somebody did a lot of decorating. He's tired. Okay.
Let me get a picture.
Gentlemen can come forward if he wants to for a picture, or...
You can feel free to come closer if you want to.
Why don't we stand behind? So we stand up here? All right. So
What? Yeah, I think I am. Brother, just gotta keep it at 8:15.
Did find some serious delays.
Okay. Thank you again, everybody. Congratulations.
Thank you, Doctor.
Take care.
It should be added to the minutes.
All right. Don't upset Mike. He sent me a very nice personal
I took it out of the trash to show me.
Okay. Next item on our agenda is public comment. It's actually the first item, really, but now we're, again, thanking everybody, all the members of the township staff who go through and do all the judging and all the work they put into all this. I want to thank them for everything. All right, we have one name on our list, Madeline Jones.
Good evening, Madeline Jones, Falls Township. I think I'm not only the only name on the list, practically the only one resident here at this point. It was great to see the two presentations that the township does do this, and also the police department and the park recreation. I happen to have some time off tonight. They changed their hours, so I thought I know where I'm coming for 7 o'clock. And I'd like to thank the township for everything they've been doing. I happened to talk to a former board member a few nights ago, and he was quite pleased. He said there was one or two areas that he's discussed with Bob Harvey, but he was quite pleased in what the present board has been doing, so thank you. And also, I like to thank the township for putting on the scroll on the government channel, the highlights of the upcoming board meeting. It's so good to see. And then also, I know Park Recreation is going to start putting up, talk to Matt about putting up, the activities, and hopefully when they meet. And again, I know in the past I have requested, and others in the township have requested, if we could have the different boards and committees, when they meet, the time and the date they meet, and have it on the scroll, on the government channel, not just online, because everyone doesn't have online. So we keep hearing, yes, it can be done, it can be done. It used to be done in the past, but so far it hasn't been back up. So please, for the new year, we'd like to, see this really, truly happen. So thank you, and joyful New Year to each of you. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you, Madeline. Appreciate that. Seems like a pretty logical and simple request. We can see if Mr. Markey can get that done. That's the only name on the list. Anybody else wish to speak? See no hands. Okay, we're going to move forward to item number 2, which is consider purchase of LED street lights. Mr. Gray.
Yes, a quote for the purchase of Phillips Road Focus LED streetlights from Wesco in the amount of $417,075 has been secured. This purchase would be through CoStars. These will be assembled in Ohio. This is the newest technology Phillips has, and these are the Cobra Head style lights. The board is asked to consider the purchase of the LED streetlights from Wesco in the amount of $417,075.
Okay, comments or questions for Mr. Gray regarding this purchase? Mr. Galloway?
Just that I know that we've been looking forward to getting this going for some time, and I'm sure Mr. Rocco might have some interesting things to say about it as he's spearheaded the effort. But no questions for Mr. Gray. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Boraski?
No, nothing.
Mr. Dens?
Yes. This is a project that I support 100%. In fact, I think every town should be doing this, changing to LED. It's energy efficient, it saves a lot of money, and it doesn't cost you anything, really. I mean, the amount of money you save pays for the money you're spending on the lights. I do have a problem with the company that we're buying these from. I feel that we were deceived by the gentleman that came here time and time again and sold us these lights. Not so much Wesco, but what was the name of the company?
He was from Wesco.
He was from Wesco.
Yes.
That was the company.
Name was,
he came here time and again, and he told us more than one time that we were buying these, were going to be manufactured in Pennsylvania, 100% built in Pennsylvania, assembled in Pennsylvania. And at some point, he claims that he told us that that wasn't going to be the case. He never said that to me. So now all of a sudden the lights were coming from Canada, which is why this has taken so long. We're going all over the place. It was just a bunch of nonsense, and we were deceived, is my opinion. This is going to happen no matter whether I vote yes or no, so there's no point in me voting no. But I really am not happy the way that this went down with this company, Wesco, and I just wanted to get that off my chest.
Mr. Rocco?
Yeah, I think obviously this is a no-brainer. The payback was, I think, I can't recall, 4.5
4 years, 2 months.
Was that
Yeah,
one?
4 years, 2
weeks?
months, and the overall savings, I think, was about 1.7 or 1.3. Yeah, it's over $1 million, so it's a lot of money. Mr. Dents is right. There's been a lot of confusion about which lights we were purchasing, where they were getting manufactured. I think in the end, it's something that we need to do. The later we wait to do it, the less savings we see. So that's why, I think I have to support it. So I'm looking forward to it. I think it'll actually make the township look nicer. Bristol Township has it, and Marsville already has it. So that's pretty bad in both of those townships.
Bristol Township's a big township. Marsville only has 8 traffic.
No, I think there was 600 and some. They just had it in the paper. But the point is, we're a little bit behind, so it'll be a real good thing. So that's all I have.
Yeah, and I agree, and I appreciate the work Mr. Rocco put into it, as well as our attorneys trying to sort of sort out where exactly these were coming from, if they were on the CoStar's bid list or not, because there were different company names, as Mr. Dents has alluded to. It was something that I was wrestling with, like he was, and all of us really kind of wondering, do we try and find somebody else at this point, but we've already gone through so much work. We already have a contractor who's been approved. They're ready to go. They're just chomping at the bit to get these in, and I think Falls residents will be very, very pleased once they are in. And we decided, that to not go with this company, to go with someone else was really more, kind of be focused too much on our pride, and that, it sort of feeling like we were being misled. The price is very good. It is a price that it's actually slightly lower even than I think what we budgeted for, or actually bid out in August. It's just a hair lower. So I'm glad to sort of get it moving forward and finally, and I think it'll be a very good benefit financially and aesthetically to the township. Any public comment? See one hand. Sorry, is there a motion to public comment?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. If you want to come up to the microphone, please, sir, and just give us your name.
Hi, Mike Lombardi. Question.
I'm sorry, so can you raise the microphone just so you're on tape so we just make sure we can hear you? Thank you. Mr. Lombardi, is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
In the end, why weren't the lights being manufactured in Pennsylvania, and how much money is being saved by having it manufactured elsewhere?
I think the issue was that the specific model of light was being manufactured in a certain, was it Camp Hill maybe or something, I forget what it was, in Pennsylvania, and Philips was phasing out that model of LED lights and moving to a new model LED lights, which were being made in Ohio. There was a third model LED lights. These change like iPhones come out. It's every 6 months they're coming out with a new LED. There was another one that was a little bit more expensive. That one was made in Canada. It really was just about where their manufacturing was, and they were closing down, they were doing something different at the one factory in Pennsylvania, and then they're assembling them now in Ohio instead. It was really something.
We really don't know.
Yeah,
that was another part of the
sort
problem.
of the explanation they gave us.
Pete Gray is the one that realized it when we did make the purchase, and the gentleman said there's going to be a problem getting them across the border, which shocked me because we bought them, I thought, from Pennsylvania. I sat here every time we talked about them, bragging about how we're buying a Pennsylvania-made product. A local company, Armor Electric, is going to install them from right here in Falls.
Right.
But that's not the case. I don't even know where we're buying them
Armor's still doing
Armor
installation.
is doing the installation.
Right, but right now the assembly of these is in Ohio.
So
Sorry,
I think we're actually we are saving a little more money, but I think we're actually spending a little more money because we are committed to having them done in the United States, and they're being done in Ohio. We're not.
Yeah.
The work's not being done in another country or overseas.
Mexico is one of the
We would be
options.
saving money if we were willing to do that, but we're not.
Okay. Mrs. Jones?
Thank you. Does the purchase of the LED streetlights include the cover, the head cover, the
Yes,
shield?
The whole thing.
Now, what type of shield are they providing?
It's one unit. It's one whole thing. They take down the old one, and they put up an entire new
Okay,
unit.
now, is the shield going to direct the light downward, or is it going to go outward?
LED lights are very well known for just being very, very spot oriented. There's not a lot of ambient light.
Okay.
There
Now,
are a few in town already, Ms. Jones. If you go down Olds Boulevard, I know there's a couple, and they really stick out by the light they produce, and like Mr.
Yeah.
Harvey said, it's almost like a spotlight shining straight
They're usually
down.
called like shoebox lights. It looks,
Okay.
instead of what that's called a cobra head, a rounded head, it's more of a rectangular head. Falls Tullytown Road near North Park has quite a few.
okay,
as
so it
well.
won't be shooting in somebody's direction?
Correct.
Okay.
Right.
Are these going to be direct, specifically for like Holtz Boulevard or our own streets, or are they going to be for residents? too?
Every street light it's 2,200 street lights, 2,300 street lights in Falls Township. Every street light we have.
Okay, very good, thank you.
Okay.
2,160.
2,168, right? Okay, street lights. We've already done a couple hundred ourselves, just our own crew, over the last couple of years. All right, motion to close public comment?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, then the matter before us is whether or not to purchase the LED streetlights from Westco Phillips Road Focus LED streetlights in the amount of $417,075. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Mrs. Pullen?
Mr. Galloway?
Yes.
Mr. Boraski?
Yes.
Mr. Harvey?
Yes.
Mr. Dents?
Yes.
Mr. Rocco?
Yes.
Okay, engineers report, item 3. Mr. Sullivan?
Thank you, Mr. Harvey. Just one minor update about the road program. By the end of this week, JDM will finish all non-weather-related punch list items. They'll be back in the springtime to do concrete work and landscaping and driveways. That's all I got.
All right.
That's all I got.
Comments or questions for Mr. Sullivan? Mr. Galloway?
None.
Mr. Boraski?
No.
Mr. Dents?
Not tonight.
Mr. Rocco?
None.
And I have none. Okay, thank you very much. Is there a motion to accept the engineer's report as presented?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Next item on the agenda is the bill list. Bills tonight, this month, I should say, the amount of $1,904,436.23. Of that 1.9 million, a little over 1.5 million out of the 1.9 is payroll, health insurance, and workers' compensation insurance. Since we mentioned streetlights, if I can find it relatively quickly here. And now, of course, I can't find it. Streetlights typically were,
27?
yeah, about 23, yeah, somewhere in the area. Oh, here it is. All right, 20, about 25, almost $24,000 just this month in streetlights, electricity. That's one of the reasons going with an LED light, which of course use a whole lot less electricity and last longer, should really cut down on that. That's the savings Mr. Rocco was addressing earlier. So, comments or questions regarding the bill list?
No.
Ray, anything? If not, is there a motion to pay the bills? $1,904,436.23.
So moved.
Second?
Mrs. Pullen?
Mr. Galloway?
Yes.
Mr. Boraski?
Yes.
Mr. Harvey?
Yes.
Mr. Dents?
Yes.
Mr. Rocco?
Yes.
Okay, minutes for January 5th, which was our reorganization meeting. Comments or questions for Mrs. Pullen regarding the minutes?
Excellent minutes as always, Mrs. Pullen.
Is there a motion to accept the minutes as presented?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, executive session we had earlier. Mr. Gray?
Yes, just a couple items tonight, Mr. Chairman. First item, Township received a proposal from Ray Litwin's Heating and Air Conditioning. This is for the annual maintenance contract for 2015. And this includes a spring and fall checkup for the amount of $4,950. Board is asked to consider this proposal at this time.
Okay. Comments or questions for Mr. Gray?
Nope.
But how long have we been using Ray Litwin?
Well, 4 to 6 years.
Okay, that's what I thought. It's
My only comment is, last year I looked at it pretty closely. I talked to Mr. Litwin on the phone. I followed his bills and invoices throughout the year. I mean, I just don't think it's worth us, at this point, renewing his annual contract. For him to do a walkthrough and inspection, and we're still, I think we replaced 3 new heaters. I mean, if something breaks, I feel at this point we'll get it fixed, but I don't think we need to have a service contract. I think, we're working towards a new building, and I don't think we need to spend that $5,000 again.
Other comments or questions?
So what do we get in the service contract? Do we get like?
They'll come out and inspect all the fan brackets, the coils, check the operations, check the safety controls, thermostat operations, the heat control circuit, operating temperatures, refrigerant levels. There's a variety of items.
It's twice a year, spring and fall?
Yes.
Is there any kind of, I'm sorry, Mr. Rocco.
No, go ahead. Thank you.
Is there, can we tell if we're getting any kind of, typically if you have sort of a service agreement, my thought would be that if you do have to call somebody out, you're not necessarily paying the same rate as you would if you were just calling somebody cold. Do we get any sense that that's what we're getting, or does it just seem like they're just charging us what they would charge us anyway?
We've really never looked into that. We could definitely look into that and see it as an option.
So maybe we table it, we talk to Mr. Litwin, we find out exactly what he's doing, and if we don't have the contract, what does it mean to Falls Township if we need him out here?
I'm sure he's going to come if you call him.
Right.
I'm sure it's gonna come too. I mean, it's what we've spent and on bills, I mean, it's a good amount of work. He's getting a decent amount of work from the township.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to table then.
All right, motion made. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
The township received a letter from Stephen Harris dated January 12th regarding the preliminary final land development application for Sylvie Concrete Products CNG facility located at 355 Newbold Road, requesting an extension on this project until February 28th, 2015. The board is asked to consider this extension at this time.
Okay. Any comments or questions?
Mr. Clark, I've asked this before, but they can continue to just request for extensions, right?
And if we deny this tonight, what happens?
Then they would have to come in under the time period. We would have to schedule it within the time period that they're allotted. So you would have to schedule it. It's your next available opportunity.
So their application ends January 31st. We
So
would have
what you'd have to do
to
is
schedule a
you-
special meeting.
You'd have to, or you would have to only grant an extension to, this is a 30-day.
Yeah.
You would have to only grant it to the day after our next meeting, and then you would hold it on that day.
February 3rd. Fine with that.
Are they, Mr. Sullivan, do you have any indication, are they going to be ready on by our next meeting?
They intend to be ready, and we believe they can come and present their project to you on the 3rd of February.
On the 3rd, when's our next meeting, 3rd or 2nd?
Oh, the 3rd, I'm sorry. It's just,
Third.
here's the meeting.
Okay. 3rd's the meeting.
My only suggestion is we are in that time of the season when we never know what's going to happen at our meeting on the 3rd. We could get snow, we could
Don't
get
say that word.
I know, I'm sorry. So you may want to give yourself a little wiggle room in case we get snowed out on that day.
If we did get snowed out, we gave it to the 3rd, we didn't have the meeting, what would happen?
Then he could claim that he has a deemed approval because he did not have a ruling on, a decision on his application in the time allotted.
Okay. So, yeah, I think granting the extension probably makes the most sense.
I'll make that motion.
Okay.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded, to grant the extension the 28th of February. All in favor?
Aye.
Township received a letter from John Koopman representing Premium Excavating regarding their land development application at 269 Canal Road. He's also requesting an extension of time on this project until March 31st, 2015. The board is asked to consider this extension.
Okay.
Okay. is there a
Yeah, I'll
motion?
make that motion too.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor? Aye.
Mr. Clark.
We have one other matter for consideration this evening, board members. We have an ordinance that is being prepared, and we would ask that you authorize advertisement of this ordinance. It's an ordinance amending Chapter 209 zoning, Section 50, special exceptions and conditional uses, subsection F, additional standards, subsection 1, additional service stations. This has been based on a review of our zoning ordinance, and it has been what I've referred to as one anomaly in our ordinance and one part of our ordinance which is no longer consistent with ADA standards, and we believe that it should be updated now. The part that is no longer consistent with ADA standards is our ordinance still requires that for every designated self-service pump, you have one designated and dedicated full-service pump. The industry now and the ADA standards are not to have self-service or full service, but to have all pumps be potentially full service through a call button. And anything that would be built in the township should have that feature, as opposed to certain ones dedicated to full serve and certain ones dedicated to self-serve. The other issue is our ordinance requires that a variance be needed whenever there is another service station within 1,500 feet of the proposed station. Our ordinance does not indicate whether or not that other service station needs to be within the boundaries of Falls Township. We believe that was probably a mistake when it was when it was originally drafted many years ago. And as I said, that's the anomaly. We know of no other municipality that has an ordinance which requires you to seek a variance if the other business is outside of your boundaries. So this ordinance would be changing that also, and changing the distance.
Okay. So we're looking just for authorization to advertise.
Yes.
And at some point in the future meeting, we'll come back and talk about this ordinance and see if it's something we want to pass. Comments or questions?
No.
Okay. Is there a motion then to authorize the advertisement of the changes to Chapter 209?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
That's it. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Looking at board comment now. Mr. Rocco?
Just one announcement. I think a few weeks ago, Falls Township put up a Facebook page. There's about 600 likes so far, so especially this time of year, I would recommend that you go on to that. If you have access to Facebook, go on and like that page for any snow emergencies and things like that. They'll be communicated through Facebook. So that's all I had.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Dents?
No, I have nothing tonight.
Mr. Boraski?
No, nothing.
Mr. Galloway?
No comment tonight.
Okay, and I just want to bring up something I brought up before, and I'm getting a lot of questions over the past week regarding the maps from FEMA that are changing, well, hopefully changing. It's been several years now. This township has really wrestled with FEMA and their flood maps. We've wrestled largely by ourselves on this issue without any help. It's been our own staff, our own professionals, and the board members that have sat up here over the years who have tried to do whatever we could to help the residents of Falls Township, particularly those that live in North Park and Elderberry, who have been placed in a flood zone, which meant that they had to buy flood insurance, even though they're in areas that have never ever flooded and really are no risk of flooding. After a lot of years of wrangling over this and voicing our displeasure with different maps as they came out and opposing maps as they came out, we were told in September, or actually over the summer, that FEMA would be changing those maps. The change was going to be announced in September, and then a 6-month review process was going to go in action, and that 6 months, of course, will be up in March. At that point, we are led to believe that those maps will then be official, and it will remove most of Falls Township. Most of the properties that are currently in the flood zone will be removed from the 100-year flood zone, which would mean that they no longer have to pay flood insurance. This is good news to a lot of people who are spending literally thousands of dollars a year on flood insurance for a house that never floods or never has flooded and has no potential really to flood. We are working right now. A lot of the questions I'm being getting from residents is how will they be notified? How will their bank be notified? Their mortgage company, whoever it is that's forcing them to pay the flood insurance. That is something that we are working on. Our staff here, what it looks like, we will be notifying residents on our own. Once FEMA tells us that it's official, we will notify residents on our own, and we're trying to figure out exactly right, as we speak, what we have to provide to residents. That we don't necessarily know. Is a letter from Falls Township going to be enough for them to show their bank, and then the bank says, okay, fine? We don't know the answer to that, and so we're going to have to find some of those things out. But we're committed to finishing this, as we have been since when we first started it years ago, to make sure that the residents aren't being forced to pay thousands of dollars. And in some cases, people have had trouble selling their homes because no one wants to buy a house where they have to pay flood insurance. So people had to drop the prices of their homes unnecessarily. So it's really been a mess, and it's really hurt people, especially at a time when they could least afford to be hurt financially. So, but we're going to do our best to make sure everybody finds out as quickly as possible once we know, and help do everything we can to make sure the process works smoothly. So more to come on that, but I did want to answer a question since I've gotten, I think, 3 or 4 questions just since last Thursday or Wednesday or something. I've been seeing people. So with that, I want to entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you.